This morning I had a friend ask me, "How are you okay with who you are?" And I loved that question and really just how timely it was. And the first response that came to my mind is that I learned how to love other people better. And that meant learning to love them in their messiness, in their flaws, in their imperfections, and things that were less than beautiful. And then realizing, oh, I do that thing too. Why am I not giving myself acceptance or love or compassion for the same thing? It may not be identical, the messy thing in them and the messy thing in me. I have my own version of it. But why am I not giving myself love for it as well if I'm extending it to this other person? And so this goes contrary to what we usually hear, which is that to love someone else, you must first love to learn yourself. And that's just not really how it worked for me. I think primarily I learned how to love other people better and then could learn to love myself. And I recently heard Colin of Queer Cosmos on Instagram talking about this sort of thing, saying that you learn how to love yourself and develop confidence in yourself when you learn how to properly, truly, deeply love someone else, and when you let them love you. When you let someone love you, you have to open your heart. You have to acknowledge and allow the fact that you are deserving of that love. And when you love someone else in their messiness, then you are learning how to love yourself. And it's transformative. And the other way that I would say I learned to be okay with myself and who I am would be through the study of archetypes, through the archetypes that are presented in things like Jungian psychology and astrology and human design and doing things like shadow work. I would recommend those sorts of things to anyone. And when you study archetypes, the fact of the matter is that by definition, archetypes are within all of us. So, for example, um, if I'm studying a Jungian archetype, it is part of me. It's part of you. It's part of everyone on the planet, and so it's it's universal and it's ubiquitous. And being able to see and understand those archetypes and the way they present in myself, um, either in a positive or a negative way, is also something that has allowed for a lot of self-acceptance and self-validation, that sort of thing. Self-validation, I think, is enormous, and learning how to be okay with who you are. And this really is just relative to who I used to be, when I was in high school or when I was a kid, and just operating on self-loathing, self-hate, and not knowing that I was. And I think that's the problem. We don't normally realize, most of us have no clue that we are operating or making decisions from self-hate and a lack of self-acceptance. So, those are my thoughts for today, for this crazy Mercury retrograde and Libra season and new moon just nonsense that's been happening. I hope it's going well for you. And yeah, let me know what you think. I would love to ask you too. How are you okay with who you are?